10 days. Iran's second most powerful person was killed. Missiles were fired. Iran shot down a passenger aircraft due to a quote-unquote human error. In just 10 days, the tide has turned for Tehran. West Asia is on tenterhooks. De-escalation is the need of the hour. For Iran, it's no more an option. It is the only option. The cost of Iran's disastrous mistake: 176 human lives. Iran's admission to unintentionally shooting down the Ukrainian plane has placed West Asia in a spot of bother. De-escalation is not an option. It is a necessity now, the need of the hour. The same people who mourned at Soleimani's funeral have turned against the establishment. But internal pressure is the least of Iran's worries. The supreme leader has a history of brutally cracking down on protests of every sort. It's the external pressure that has forced Iran to de-escalate.
What Iran has admitted to is very serious. Shooting down a civilian aircraft is horrific. Iran must take full responsibility. Canada will not rest until we get the accountability, justice, and closure that the families deserve. Be able to have our investigators involved in everything from the black box to support on DNA identification and the various processes.
The grief and anger of people across the world. A tweeting Trump and protests at home and abroad. Iran had to budge. What happens in West Asia affects the whole world. One of the worst sufferers of the West Asian crisis is Canada. "57 Canadians were killed due to Iran's quote-unquote human error. Thousands of Canadians attended vigils for the victims. Loss, sorrow, hurt and rage. This is the outcome of reckless and violent geopolitics.
My family is devastated. They've lost the most supporting person they've ever had.
We must demand justice from Islamic Republic authorities and demand answers and compensation for the negligence and lack of regard for human life that has led to this tragedy. We must hold to account a culture which values death over life and sadness and tears over joy."
Iran admits that de-escalation is the only solution. Tehran demands the waiver of US sanctions as bargain, but the US refuses preconditions. The European Union still wants to keep the nuclear deal alive. This is the scenario 10 days after the killing of Qasem Soleimani. Trust is in short supply for Tehran. Iran is not in a position to dictate terms, not after shooting down a passenger plane. 3 days of intense protests at home, the economic cost of sanctions, and the loss of human lives. Iran faces pressure to agree to denuclearization. The economy is in a shambles, and the latest US sanctions could hurt it further. Any escalation of tensions could potentially multiply the sorrow, cripple peace, and deliver a huge blow to global economy. The world is grieving, but the world is also watching Iran. Bureau Report, Wion, World is One.